I know it's December, I'm a little bit late, but happy birthday Oval House, which is 50 years old this year. Happy birthday to you. Alright, that's enough. I think it's now called the Oval Theatre. And I think it's going to be moving, which is, well, needs must. But I think it's interesting to put it in a perspective and let it know how it came to be. In 1961, yeah, there was a 1961, it was actually known as Christchurch, brackets Oxford, Boys Clubs, because it was financed entirely by the generosity of the former alumni of Christchurch, Oxford University. And it was a boys' club, so they did boys' things, running, jumping, punching, playing football. And in 1961 the world changed because the new artistic director, the new director was brought in, and that was Peter Oliver. In fact, you can't talk about Peter without talking about Joan. The Olivers arrived, Peter and Joan Oliver. And the battle lines were drawn fairly early on because Peter hated all competitive sports, and especially ball sports. So he refused to pump up the footballs or referee any of the games because he didn't understand the rules. And so when the boys returned after playing a game with all their dirty kit, and they gave it to Joan because that's what the dutiful director's wife always did, she said, "What do you expect me to do with this?" And they said, "Wash it." And he said, "Well, why? You made the mess. Take it home and wash it yourself." Oh yes, a very short time. The Olivers Must Go was daubed on the outside of the Oval, Christchurch Boys Clubs, that is. And then they went even further. They introduced girls. Now, this, obviously, a whole new can of worms. Oh, tentative early flirtations, first loves, first broken hearts, first engagements, first broken engagements. I think some of them led to marriages. And all this was happening in this area, this very working class area, Kennington Park Estate, opposite the Surrey Tavern Pub. And a number of the locals weren't happy with these changes at all. There was an instance where Joan, who lived in the White House, which was the building next to the Oval on the top floor, answered the door about 11:15 one night, and there was Barry Robertson, one of the local lads, with his jacket torn. I said, it was his wedding jacket, and he said, "You've got to sew this up for me, Joan." She said, "What happened?" He said, "I got in a fight over the pub. They were mouthing off about how you lot had ruined this place, and how now it was full of druggies and puffs." Druggies and puffs, these were the 60s and on. But it was too late. It had all changed, and the drama took over, and gradually all the sporting stuff disappeared, until by the time I arrived there in September 1971, the only trace that there had ever been anything remotely athletic to do at the club were the weightlifters. They were really sweet guys who went there once a week to do weightlifting, and then they would come in, these big guys, have a muesli and a glass of water in the coffee bar. I should explain, I got there because Mick Pierce in the sixth form mentioned that he went to a theatre group and there were girls in the group. That's the only reason I went to the Oval, because the only woman I had any contact with who wasn't a relative was the lady at the Swedish shop at the end of my estate. Otherwise, I just had no idea how to communicate or talk to a woman. I had no desire to perform. I wasn't a performer. I didn't strive or aim to be a performer at any time in my life, I don't think. Drama didn't. It certainly wasn't a dream to be an actor or anything like that. I just turned up. Yeah, there were girls, which was great. And so I phoned Steve Steen. He came down the next week. And then Peter or Joan, I can't remember which, said there's a class on a Friday that you might find interesting called an improvisation workshop. An improvisation workshop. Okay. This was all new to me because we didn't have drama at school. I went to a Catholic grammar school for boys. And so drama obviously wasn't on the curriculum because it leads directly to sin, which, yeah, it does actually. It's great fun. Oh, that's telephone, but I'm going to let that go because you people are more important. so I had no intention of performing at all. But anyway, on this Friday, Steve and I went along to room 5, which was just like a normal room, but with all the furniture pushed off to the sides, carpet on the floor. And John Grant from a theatre group called Incubus would sit there and go, all right, you're stuck in a laundrette, you put too much powder in the washing machines, and the bubbles are starting to flow over and you don't know what to do, go. And that was it, you'd start. And it seemed to me it was just playing like kids. You're playing, you're making things up as you go along. And it was an interest to me, and some people found it difficult. And I kind of couldn't see why. Because it is just playing. Kids just play. They don't suddenly go, oh, I don't know if I'd actually shoot the arrow into the air right now. I think what I might do first is they don't do that. They just play. And they don't judge themselves. They don't go, oh no, I was rubbish in that game. No, it's playing. That's what improvisation is at its very, very best. And so I got interested in it, and people were saying, Stephen, oh, you're really quite good. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there's a tour circuit. You can make money doing this. Make money doing this, playing, having a laugh. That was it. The world of academia just floated away off into the distance, never to be troubled again. And that was it. I was sold. And as well as the work in the workshops, they had the theatre putting on the most extraordinary shows. I'd only ever been to see one play, which was Othello at the Mermaid Theatre. I don't remember who was in it apart from Bernard Miles, who played Iago. And the only reason we went is because Desdemona was to be played. The actress was wearing, it was mentioned in the reviews, slightly diaphanous, I think that's a word, semi-see-through, nighty, with the lighting that you could see her whole body underneath, and that's why we went. And the only other thing I remember is I didn't understand anything that was going on, except thinking, may he rest in peace, that Bernard Miles was awful. And that was it. So I had no interest in theatre at all. And I was thrown in, I saw the People Show. The People Show, at the set, it wasn't like you sat in a row and politely watched a performance on stage. You opened the doors to the theatre and you were in a forest. Literally, they must have stripped all the branches, trees and God knows what from Kennington Park. And built this forest in there. It was an extraordinary piece and it was like a dream. There was one character on this big hefty wooden structure at the back of the stage going, I am fucking God, listen to me. That was Jose. There was Mark doing some monologue about something. Mike at the back in a white suit playing his trumpet. Mike Figgis, who went on to be a film director. He is a film director. And Laura, who was cycling around stark naked, sort of vaguely covered in white paint, doing nursery rhymes while riding a tricycle. No idea what it was about, but to this day it is still the closest thing to a dream I have ever seen. And in conjunction with that, the Oval also did community projects all around the local community. During the summer we'd work on these schemes with Kennington Park Estate, the Triangle Adventure Playground, Coronation Buildings, which was an estate up by Vauxhall, Dorset Road Estate, which I don't know if it's still there, which is midway between the Oval and Stoll. And we'd turn up as characters, so you'd be like a scientist with a clipboard going around, and eventually a kid would come up and say, what are you doing? You say, no, I haven't got time to talk to you now, I'm too busy doing this. And eventually kids do come up and go, no, what are you doing? So, all right, I'm looking, an alien is supposed to have landed here, and then an alien. And then a good 200 yards away, so the kids couldn't get to him. You go, look, there he is, and there's an alien, and you'd be off on this adventure which might last for an hour and a half. Where you were playing with the kids. Again, improvising, just improvising with the kids. It was fantastic, and they also gave you the ethos. Peter was very strong with this, and I didn't realise it till many years later, the significance of it. So that any drama, any piece of art, you have the right to fail. Now, I've been at a school where if you got something wrong, you were an idiot, you were stupid, you weren't paying attention, you're a waste of space. This is a place saying, no, try it, if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, you will learn something from it. And that's the essence of improvisation as well. You have the right to fail. If you're not prepared to fall flat on your arse, don't bother improvising. And so the Oval led me down to this world of improvisation, meaning I spent my life doing something that I loved doing. I loved improvising because I never felt freer. I wasn't judging or thinking, or I was just there improvising and having the time of my life. And it enabled me to work up to 2007 with the Comedy Store Players when I was in a wheelchair at the end. Because of IMS, I don't know where I would have been in 1985 when my eyesight went. 1990, I was already a lot weaker than I could be. 95, I was stumbling slightly, and I don't know if I'd have had a job. I'd have been out of a job by the mid-90s at least. So I don't know where I would have been. So I owe the Oval House everything. Absolutely everything, because it just opened the world up for me. So for me, this is a very personal happy birthday, Oval House. And thank you for giving me a damn good time.